For more on Game 4, Jalen Rose joins us now. We're going to get to the wardrobe in just a second. But first, we have to start. What is the mindset now of the Jazz? Because their backs are against it for the next 3 games. How does that change their approach?
I have a lot of respect for the Utah Jazz. I think they've had a tremendous season. They've outplayed expectation. But anytime you're going against the San Antonio Spurs, and you saw that at the end of the game, they really frustrate you physically and emotionally because they're such a great team. They play with a stoic demeanor. They just go out there and they get it done, and they find ways to win. And if you're the Utah Jazz, I think you're basically in trouble.
They have that urgency now. How do they deal with that sense of urgency?
The Utah Jazz?
Yeah.
Well, that sense of urgency really is not going to mean too much once you get to San Antonio because those guys know how to close out series. And being up 3-1, you know, like I said, the Utah Jazz have had a great season, but instead of getting fitted for rings this year, you know, it's probably time to start getting fitted for golf clubs.
the dreaded golf clubs. Ginobili with a monster fourth quarter, 15 points. What makes him such a tough matchup?
What makes him such a tough matchup is really he can do it all, especially offensively. He can handle the ball off pick and rolls or go one-on-one. He can shoot the three-pointer. He can shoot off the dribble, medium-range shots. He can take it all the way to the basket. And he gets to the free throw line. And what that does as a scorer, it allows you to work yourself into the game. And you saw that in the fourth quarter in particular.
If you're going to take one part of his game away, which is the most important part to take away from him?
And you say this all of the time when you're playing against somebody that's right-handed, that you're going to force them left. You say this about a left-hand player, that you're going to force them right. But it's easier said than done when you can do it all as an offensive player. So if anything, you want to take away his left hand, but you can't because the guy's so good.
The lone bright spot for the Jazz was probably Deron Williams in Game 4. How good can this kid be?
This kid is a stud. He has size, he has versatility, he has the ability to see the floor, and he plays the percentage. He's not just a young point guard that's out there being a gunner or being a turnover waiting to happen and still getting numbers. I mean, he's playing efficient basketball. He's scoring 25, 30 points against the San Antonio Spurs, which doesn't happen on average, yet still getting his guys involved, getting around 10 assists. So really the sky's the limit for point guards in this league, including him. And wow, I'm glad I'm not a point guard to have to guard him every night.
You hear these comparisons with this Utah team to past. You've got the Stockton-Malone thing and Williams and Boozer. Can the two of them ever live up to those Hall of Fame type aspirations?
You don't want to live up to those Hall of Fame aspirations when you're those guys. You want to be yourselves. You want to create your own niche, and I think they're doing a good job of doing that. Now the next step for the Utah Jazz is going to be rebuilding. What do you do with the other 3 guys around? You're not getting much from Mehmet Okur. He really hasn't showed up offensively. Andre Karolinko, he's been inconsistent offensively as well. So what you do with the other starters is really going to be the key to their development if they're able to go to the next level.
Another big storyline in Game 4 was the Spurs defense. What are they doing that is so effective against Utah?
Well, in the second half in particular, and I think they waited for this opportunity to do it, they doubled Deron Williams off pick and rolls and they made him pass the ball. And what that does is it makes him a secondary playmaker. And when he gives the ball up, try to deny him to get the ball back. And in turn, that takes the Utah Jazz, who are a precision offensive team, it really takes them out of their offense and it disrupts the timing of what they really like to do.
One of the big things late in this game was Ginobili. Is he a flopper? I mean, can you call him a flopper?
I can't call him a flopper, but he's a very good actor. But he's not the only one in the NBA.
I mean,
what's the difference is it works. You can't be a flopper if it doesn't work.
Okay.
So block charge is a part of our game. So yes, I can get in front of Shaquille O'Neal if he's running down the floor. He could be 50 feet away from the basket, jump in front of him, fall like I got shot with a gun, and it may be a charge. Now, is that something I want them to take out of the game? Yes, it is. But Ginobili does a good job, and Derek Fisher does too. So to see those 2 guys at the end of the game, that was great theater.
Yeah. Interesting that you decided to wear the Tigers jacket in here. I think the Indians swept the Tigers over the weekend.
Yes, they did, but, you know, I had to represent for Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell, Kirk Gibson, you know, Dan Petrie. Exactly.
All right.
Maglio Ordonez for
I will say, you wear that better than the Michigan blazer.
Thank you. I
can
appreciate
tolerate that.
Spoken like someone that's from Ohio, indeed.
Jalen Rose, thank you very much. The Spurs now have 3 games to win 1 to get back to the NBA Finals. They're going to get their first chance to close out the Jazz when they return to San Antonio for Game 5. That's tomorrow night. They'll tip it just after 9 o'clock Eastern over on ESPN.
1st and 10 times. Skip Bayless is off. ESPN.com's Pat Forty and ESPN.com's Jamel Hill here. And before we even dive into that, I see Jalen walking away, but you're a Detroit guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering, where can I get that jacket, man?
Jay is so outnumbered. You're Kentucky. You don't even
know. There's way too much
Ohio
Detroit
right now is
going
so
on here.
outnumbered in this studio.
And Jalen, before, I went to Michigan State. He went to Michigan, so it's a natural animosity. Oh, don't even get started. No, let's not start that. Let's just focus on our love for Detroit. Don't get that started.